My name is Chris, and this is Space and Story, the place where we talk a little bit about creativity and art and design and different types of creative expression. Creative expression. I don't know why that word came out weird, but. And today I want to talk about, of course, the thing we're all kind of worried about to some extent is AI and what effect does AI have on the future of creativity and art and expression, and is it just going to ruin everything, or is there some way to kind of keep in balance with this AI, use it to our benefit instead of our detriment? And I think this conversation comes around, every time there's some sort of technological advancement in the art space. It may have been digital painting, it may have been sampling, or not even just technological advancement, but just a change in the way things happen. So like even an example of Milli Vanilli, right? You could have somebody in the studio singing all the stuff and it sounds great and perfect, and then there's sort of this front person, the performer, who is out there lip syncing to the music, and like, is this thing going to ruin music at the whole? Is everybody going to start doing this sort of fake performance? Or you look at some of the AI generated performers in like Korean and K-pop music, where there's not even an actual performer, really, not a person. It may just be an animated, CG computer generated person. I'll say person in quotations, that now has all this music made for them, and you're just seeing a performance of an animation, and that's the entire artist and the entirety of it, and there's no sort of actual person in touch with it. Or Timberland got caught up in some things lately, using the AI platform Suno, where he took some beats from someone online and he ran them through the AI, and the AI spit out almost an identical beat to what someone else made. And he's, sitting there thinking that the AI is doing something great, and it's really just copying what someone else did. So, the concern is, does this sort of make art or creative expression or design as we know it sort of obsolete, useless, no need to have a human hand in these things anymore? And the answer is probably yes and no, right? So like, for commercial purposes, if you're an individual, and I may have in the past gone to, a designer to get a flyer made for my event, if I can just go into AI and get it made in a couple of seconds and it suits my needs, that designer's going to lose business over it. Would that have been a large amount of business for that designer? Probably not. In totality, you may, they lost 50 clients because of that. That can have a real impact on your business. But in general, it always feels like technology replaces the low-hanging fruit, the easiest things to produce. And that's not to take away from, any designer doing, print work or logos or whatever it may be, and saying that your work is easy and not of, as much value. But there is, levels to all of these things, right? There is a need for, I have a party going on, I might have 100 people coming, I need a way to promote those things, so I need some pieces, some flyers, some social media posts and things like that. Those are pretty low-level things. They're not going to generate a ton of money for that particular person or that business, so they're not going to output a lot of money for those things. And if I can cut out, a $100 bill to a designer and replace that with, a $20 per month subscription to an AI thing and get what I need, then, as a business person, that makes sense. Is this going to replace the things that hang on the wall in the gallery? Probably not. So there's always this tension between, is this the new thing that's going to replace and take your job, or is there some way that even you yourself can use it? So I think of, a place and time in every sort of creator's journey is, I think there's a spot where you have an eye and you created a taste and you're able to see, I can see the quality from the junk. I can tell the difference between what's good and what's not. But I may not be able to actually create what's good yet. So I can be stuck in this place where, and I think we all kind of hit that wall where we're creating things and they're getting better over time, but you're still looking at, what we may call the masters, or ones who are, professionals who have, taken the time and put in their effort, their 10,000 hours to be able to create really good work that you're just not able to do yet. But you can recognize that your work is not there. So there's sort of this disappointment in the things that you make. There's a longing to kind of get better. And I think, there's going to be a group of people that use AI to jump up and bridge that gap without actually maybe doing the work of getting better over time. Because, everybody loves a shortcut, and they're going to be like, hey, why do I need to figure out how to do this right? I have the taste for it. I can actually write it in the description and a prompt and tell the AI what I want, and the AI can go and look out at all of the examples out there, all of the references, and put together probably a pretty good version of what I would want to see, what I would have wanted to create. So in that way, you have people who may have been a low-level designer coming into it and then feel like they automatically can jump into an art director or creative director role, because now I get to tell someone else, that someone else being the AI, exactly how it should look, how it should feel, what kind of texture it should have, the colors, the mood, all the ideas behind it that I couldn't, actually execute on my own. I can then tell the AI to execute for me. And it can probably jump some people into a position where they feel like they're now at a level that they should be instructing other people how to come up with creative ideas and how to execute them. And I think that does do a disservice to some people because they're missing out on part of that learning process. They're missing out on the craft of the thing and what it takes to actually refine that craft over time and get good enough to actually meet your own expectations, to meet your own taste level. And the beauty and the victory of that, right? Like the goal of putting that in over time and actually getting to it, climbing that mountain, right? It's sort of like, instead of climbing the mountain, I hop in a helicopter and I get taken to the top and I get dropped off. There's, some sense of accomplishment there. You've made it to the top of the mountain, but you didn't actually do the work to get there. So at some point, there's going to be this reckoning, I think, of, and there's already probably some of it happening in a lot of different spaces. And I think I work in the education industry now, and AI is a big thing of like, is the AI doing the work for the student, or is the AI really just an assistant to help the student do better work? And teachers are really worried about, a whole generation of kids coming up that don't know how to do the actual work. They're just relying on AI to do it all for them. And maybe they don't actually take the time to generate that taste level, that expectation of what's good and what's not good. They're just accepting that the AI has outputted something for them that they assume is great. So I think there's all these different facets of it to kind of think about when we start looking at, how do we want to incorporate AI into our own practices and the ways that we want to do that. And there's plenty of times when I use AI personally for things that I am not good at. For instance, these videos, right? The descriptions, the titles. I use AI to really generate a lot of that stuff. I can give it the keywords, I can give it a subject and say, hey, write this description for me. And it'll do all the description. It'll make it great for SEO and make sure the tags are all there and the keywords and all that good stuff. And that's something that's, honestly to me is not important. Not important to know how to do. It's important to the process and to the output and the outcome. But it's not important to know how to do. And I think that's where I feel like AI can be most valuable to some of us, where it creates a shortcut for work that, it's not important that I do on my own. If you're a designer and you have an output, like it is important for you to do the design. If you're an artist or a painter, a poet, it is important for you to write the words. It is important for you to put the brushstrokes on the canvas because it's supposed to come from you. Now, if there's, I need to write, a proposal letter to get my piece into this gallery, then, hey, let AI do that thing. That's not something that, naturally is supposed to be your wheelhouse. So that as an assistant, I think is really useful. But at the end of the day, this AI is like another person, right? Even if you went to a designer and got things done for you, or you went to a writer and got things done for you, you're going to look at the final output and you're going to say, is this output good enough? Is this what I wanted? And a lot of people might miss out on that step using AI, just assuming that, since it is so good at this point, it keeps getting better day by day, that they don't have to kind of check what it outputs. So like there is a need for you to kind of look at, I've generated something with AI. What do I kind of do with it after that fact? You can still refine it. It is still going to be representative of you. The AI is not perfect. It does not know everything. It only knows what it might find on the internet or what you might feed it at the end of the day. So there is a responsibility on you, if you decide to use that AI, to go back and check the work and make sure the work is good and refine it and make it better. So that AI becomes a tool for you, not a replacement of the things that you might want to output at the end of the day. I do also think there's a value in AI as a sparring partner in ways where you might have an idea for something. You can kind of go with the AI and say, hey, maybe I don't know everything that's out there in this space. I have this idea for this piece, for this design, for this song, these lyrics, and I'm talking about a specific subject. How can the AI kind of help you unravel that subject, unravel the things that you don't know about it, the things that are out there already written that you can kind of go back and forth with and strengthen the thing that you're creating. So that as a tool to understand what's out there and be another set of eyes for you, I think can be really valuable. I also think there's a value in AI as a repository for your own information. Google has a platform called Notebook LM that I use as, in a lot of ways, my own memory, right? Because my memory isn't always the greatest. We have another channel, 7997, my wife and I do, where we talk about our life in Mexico. And I actually take all of our scripts, all the transcribed scripts from all of the episodes, and I put them all into the AI, and that becomes sort of the brain for the AI. So like, if I want to come up with new content and new ideas, I then query the AI, and it's really pulling from the things that we've already talked about. It's pulling from the things that would normally be in my brain if I could, remember every single word of every single episode. So there's literally, 100 episodes worth of content within this notebook, and I'm able to kind of query that notebook and get back results, talk about the things that we've kind of went through. What are some points I might be missing? Where are some new places we can explore based on what we've already done? So that to me becomes a way that AI can really be a help rather than a hindrance in a creative space, where you can kind of store all of your ideas in there and then go back and interrogate and query your own ideas to generate something new out of them. So in that way, it feels a lot more personal rather than, the AI is just pulling from a random place on the internet and giving you information. It's actually being triggered by your own thoughts and your own words. And that becomes, I think, really valuable at the end of the day. So I guess to sum all this up, I think about, is AI a hindrance or is it a value? And I think it all lies in the way that you use it. Is it used as a supplement, as a way to make you stronger, to make you better? Or is it used as a replacement to something that's really valuable to you that you should be engaged and hands-on? And it doesn't, replace all the beauty in the world with just AI-generated things. It can if we let it. I think there's still value in things that AI cannot produce. So AI can copy really well. As of yet, I've not seen it produce from scratch. I've not seen it create a art piece or a song without having any reference at all. So I think honestly, we as humans can't really do that either, right? A lot of us still have some sort of reference that we're pulling on. So, I don't know if this is clarifying in any way. It's hopefully clarifying to myself just to kind of understand, where I can use it, where I think I should use it. setting up my own rules and guidelines of what might be appropriate or inappropriate AI use. And also kind of take a little bit of the mystery out of it. Like, it's not this scary beast on the mountain. It's only just regurgitating the things that we give it. So if we can feed it a good diet of hopefully our own thoughts and inspirations and things that we care about and say and think about, then we can probably get a much better result out of it at the end of the day. So if you're out there looking for, AI tools, your Chat GPTs and your Geminis are great, but I would try and find some tools like Notebook LM from Google that actually let you feed what you need to feed into the AI, and the AI only uses that as a reference to give you back what you need. So you can really have more control and more of a personal input and output from that system. So as always, this is Space and Story. My name is Chris, and I will talk to you guys next time. Peace.